today. The first thing I wanted to jump into first was actually the big, maybe the shock transfer news of the day, and that is that Tell signs for Tottenham. It was only about 3 days ago. Most of the reports said that he had turned down the opportunity. And there is a little confusion in this because it was then reported that he wants Man United and agreed to join Man United, but Bayern Munich only wanted a loan with an obligation to buy, and they wouldn't accept just a loan deal. But he's going to Tottenham on just a loan deal. So I'm sure that's going to come out in the wash around why it was different for Tottenham than Man United. But I will just say this from the off. I think he's young and he's raw and he isn't the finished article, but I think it's a phenomenal piece of business for Tottenham. I'm not going to change my mind because my club didn't get him. I'm gutted that United haven't found a way to get this done. But George, I'm going to go to you first. How impressed are you with this business and how excited are you to see Tell in a Tottenham shirt?
Yeah, no, it's some good bit of business for us. I think the biggest surprise for me is I've pretty much accepted over the weekend. He's not coming us. He's rejected Spurs. I know. Made the video. Everyone was like, "Oh, he's rejected Spurs," and it was all a laugh for a couple of days. But now, he ends up at my club. He literally in London having his medical done. And like you said there, I think, to be honest, the loan works out best for all parties. Because like you've highlighted, I don't think that he's what we need to fill the gaps that Spurs have entirely. We need an experienced player, someone that can come into that front line and really take us to the next level. Now, he's not the needle mover or the guy that's going to take us from 15th to 8th or 10th in the league this season, but he's a different role profile for what we have at the moment, and for what we need on the pitch, he definitely can add something to us, and he's going to grow himself with the minutes that he's going to get. I think one of the key points of why he would have chose Spurs over some of the other teams is because we're still in all competitions. We have a lot of minutes to go around, and he's going to be able to get a lot of game time playing with Spurs. But more importantly than anything is, like you've highlighted, is we just got the deal done. I think Spurs needed an attacking improver. We needed someone to come in, and I'm just glad at this point they managed to. Don't know what they've done. I want to know what sort of thing happening behind, because
can I give you a theory I've got? I've got, and it's, again, Spurs fans listening, if you take this as a dig, you need to stay off the internet for a while because your brain ain't operating correctly. You need a rest. I think it's something to do with Harry Kane, in the sense of a little bit of money shaved off. Maybe you extend the payment terms. And by the way, that's good business. I think you've done, if they've said no to Man United, no to Arsenal, no to Chelsea for a straight loan, the only team that's got a sort of, you've got an ongoing deal with Kane because they owe you money. I'm thinking maybe something around that where you've shaved a bit of money off, or said, look, maybe this year you can miss your payment and send it next year. I'm just spitballing here, but
I would agree.
I think it'll be some clever business from Levy like that.
Yeah, that sounds exactly like Levy, wheeling and dealing like Del Boy. He's going to try and get a deal done with whichever way it works out. If that means he's got to take some money off a deal for Harry Kane, it is what it is. I think at this point, we're just happy to have a player in. It's been a while since Spurs fans can really have a smile on their face. We've got 3 points and a clean sheet to make the weekend even better. And what a way to start deadline day. Man, I think Spurs need to still go out there and make some proper business moves. But I'm just happy. Like I said, the obligation, I was worried when I saw Tottenham are going to spend 50 million euros or 60 million euros on another youngster, another unproven quantity. That's where I started to worry. But now, look, save some funds, got a player till the end of the year. And to be honest, he probably would have improved most teams that were in for him. So he's an improvement to our attack, and can't complain with that.
Yeah, Terry, did Manchester United mess up the deal? Were they trying to do something?
We don't know yet, and that's why I'm annoyed. So when it comes to Man United, I want to make it more about Tottenham, but I'll answer your question because we'll get onto United later. I'm annoyed we're not bringing anybody in, but I'm not going to be angry about the deal per se, because I kind of agree with George. I didn't want an obligation to buy because there's a rawness in him, and you agree £50 million obligation to buy and he's whack, then you're stuck with this player. So I'm not necessarily annoyed that we didn't do a deal that we weren't happy with, because we've done so many deals in the last 11 years we're not happy with. So I can't be a hypocrite and suddenly say, just pay whatever it takes and do whatever it takes, because that's a ridiculous way to look at things as a football fan. However, I'm disappointed we haven't got him or somebody else that's high up on our priority list. But I'll have to wait and see the reasons why, because from the outside looking in as fans, looking at all the news from the German outlets, the British outlets, the European outlets, Bayern Munich was saying no to a straight loan. So if the only way Spurs have got it is because they've done something with the Kane deal as an example, I can't be too angry because we don't have that mechanism in place. However, I think we've left the squad short for the remainder of the season up front. I can't deny that fact. So, frustrated. Henry, from your point of view, I'm not sure if you made any content about this today on your channel or not, but are you happy with this business?
Yeah, I see a lot of people have been mentioning that, but yeah, there was a video out. It went out a couple of hours ago. But yeah, in terms of Tell, I think it suits both parties because he wants minutes, and for the only thing, the downside of it, I think Solanke's injury might be a little bit more serious than we think. That's why we were desperate to bring in a forward. He can play out for left. He can play as a number 9 as well. But like you said, there's a bit of an unknown there because he's a bit of a raw talent, isn't he? He's got some decent numbers in Germany, but playing for a team like Bayern Munich against some of the Bundesliga sides, I expect him to have relatively good numbers. It's just the funniest thing about it is his debut is going to be against Man United. His Premier League debut will be playing against the team that was also battling out for him. But yeah, I actually like if we can get what it's unlikely, but if we can get one more over the line between now and then, we are looking at the Sassy, which I'd do my nut if we sign him. But if we can bring in someone else, we are looking at another defender. I don't think the window's been horrendous.
Sassy in the Ange high line.
Yeah, exactly. It's a marriage and disaster that like he'd do his hamstring in 4 games. I'm that confident. But look, it feels a bit like someone's birthday. We've got 3 points against a tough away opponent. We've come out of a clean sheet, and it's the start of a huge week for us. I want to see Tell, and I can't remember the young centre or the Austrian centre back we've signed in the mix. Not necessarily playing 90, but I want to see him in the mix against Liverpool and Aston Villa. I don't think Van der Ven's gonna play the Liverpool game. I think they're gonna manage his minutes. But in terms of the signing,
I think he plays that Liverpool game. Didn't they come out and confirm that he wouldn't play he didn't play yesterday, so they could save him for that Liverpool game?
He said something like he won't be fully fit for 7 days, but I think he could play 45.
Yeah.
But you don't want him to go and play 90 against Liverpool and then he gets injured again. But in terms of Tell, 60 million euro, the initial fee, I was like, that's a lot of Tottenham's budget for an unproven player. If we was going to spend that on centre back or a DM that we desperately need, then fair enough. But it's a good bit of business, you know. I just can't believe that we're bringing in a striker and there's teams out there that Man United, Arsenal, and Chelsea have been desperate to do business and haven't done anything. But yeah, fair play to Levy and co because he brought in a couple of good players.
Henry, focus.
Sorry?
I said focus, Henry. Focus. Bro. Focus.
No, I am focused. Huge week though. If we go and beat Liverpool, that's the perfect way for Ange to get a lot of the fan base back on side.
Of course, massive week for yourself. And by the way, on your game yesterday, I thought you were brilliant. And I spoke about this for so many weeks about Spurs. It's about playing to your means, and you did that yesterday due to injuries and where you were playing. You were compact, hard to beat, resolute. You fought hard. All those balls that were crossed in, the line was deep. I bet if you got the stats out, the high line for large parts of that game was 20 foot deeper on average in that match. And for me, that's what I want to see Ange do more of. Just objectively speaking, it's know who you're up against and understand that you can't always play a high line. You can't always be the aggressor. When you're at home, it's a little more difficult because teams will often just give you the ball. Palace did that to us yesterday. They would have the ball, try and break us down. They were hitting us on the counter, and that happens. It's why Man United tend to do a little bit better away from home than we do at home because teams attack us a little bit more. And we have to understand who we are and what we are at this moment in time. You know, there are still people that think it's why they're already turning on Amorim because these are the same as I've done streams with some of you for 5, 6, 7 years. The same people that told us to just sacking Jose would fix us. Of course, they're just going to turn on the manager, but they're stupid. They're wrong. They're toaster people. Anyone who's new to the show, that means I wouldn't trust them with a toaster. So I don't trust their opinions on football. Certainly not. But yeah, look, very, very good yesterday, Tottenham. A massive week. I hope you knock Liverpool. I mean, I still want it. I want the North London derby final because I'm just here for the carnage. I'm just here for the reaction to whichever team loses because it will be beautiful. So nothing to do with no disrespect to Newcastle or Liverpool. It's honestly that final. We all know that final would be the best final to watch from a neutral standpoint as well, but also the worst final for Arsenal and Liverpool, Arsenal and Tottenham fans, because I don't think you really want each other in the final, do you?
I want Arsenal.
Oh, you want Arsenal?
Right, nobody's scared of Spurs in any scenario, bro. We want them.
Honestly, Tottenham fans probably want Newcastle. Let's not lie.
I Do you know what I think? I get your point, right? I think deep down inside, this is what Arsenal fans think. We ain't scared of Tottenham most times, but to lose a final to them, the level of bragging rights that gives them is massive.
I know what you mean in terms of the chances. It's a one-off game, so there's always a chance. I hear it, but I don't fear Spurs, man. They're not the guys for the big occasion, especially on the cup final.
From what we've seen on the weekend versus Man City and how we played Tottenham this season twice, if we were to beat Newcastle, I'd feel very confident. Where going into that game, I think Tottenham fans, in order to win a trophy, you'd rather face a team who doesn't win trophies like Newcastle.
Yeah, but that could also be the downfall.
No, but you know what, Igor?
That's the wrong way to look at it, because I think that you give Newcastle an opportunity to be up for it more than any other team. The fact they've not won a trophy in 60 odd years, the fact they went to Carabao Cup final just 2 seasons ago, gives them the opportunity that whoever they do place, whether it's Tottenham or Liverpool, I think they're going to be well up for the final. And I wouldn't want to play them.
I think Newcastle have more chance of beating Spurs in the final than they do. Sorry, I'm going to get it wrong. Yeah, I think they'll be more buoyed by getting. Sorry, what was around this? Oh, my head has just gone.
Arsenal.
I think Tottenham have got a better chance in the final against Arsenal than they do Newcastle.
Yeah,
That's what I was meant to say. Sorry, my head.
Do you know what, Terry? Do you know what, Terry? Every single cup final that Newcastle are about to go into, that's the narrative, innit? And they never turn up. So I hear it, but every time they say, "Oh yeah, they've not."
Wouldn't you be? But wouldn't it be fair to say that this team right now is probably one of the best teams they've had going into a cup final? Because this team's very good, Newcastle. Let's not lie.
No, but out of the 4 teams remaining, Tottenham
didn't have Shearer, mate.
First.
Out of the 4 teams remaining, Tottenham's the worst, though. We can admit that. And with your injuries to your defense, what does
that even mean?
George,
what does that even mean? You guys are 2-0 down going into your cup semi-final, your semi-cup.
No, but it's just a fact.
We're not talking about this scenario. We're talking about the
it's not even an insult. It's just a fact. Newcastle are categorically a better side than Tottenham this season, based on the season and how they performed throughout the season and where they are in the league. Arsenal and Liverpool don't even talk to them. So. What am I saying? That's ridiculous.
No, go on. It's cool. Go on. You can feel that way. You guys ain't getting through to the next round.
What do you feel that way? It's not a feeling.
Gal was right, but I get where I see it from George. George don't even need to explain, and I know exactly what he means because we all got brains here. He is thinking more scenario. Spurs are more likely to get into the final than Arsenal in terms of current situation. That is true. However, we'll get onto Arsenal a little bit later, but with the win yesterday and the goals and Newcastle's poor home form, again, I think there's a door that's slightly ajar that if Arsenal go into that semi-final with the right attitude, the right intensity, get an early goal, they can turn it around. If you go there and you're too passive, you've got to silence St. James's Park, because that place is going to be a fucking cauldron on Wednesday night. It is going to be electric.
Newcastle in
massive.
I can't even remember who their semi-final was when they got to it. I think it was like Southampton or something was the semi-final last time.
I think it was,
So it wasn't like this big cup semi-final for them to really. This is it for Newcastle. This is their big cup semi-final, second leg. They're carrying a lead at home against a good side. That atmosphere will be ridiculous.
You just seen what we did to the champions last year, and you just seen what Bournemouth did to Newcastle. Anything can happen. I believe we can do it.
Do you know what? I'm with Igal. Anything can happen. My issue with the scenario is, I believe we can go out there and score 3 goals at St. James's Park. But do I believe we won't concede any goals? I can't confidently say that this season, because of how we've been. So that's
Bournemouth just did it to them in the league. Bournemouth beat them 4-1, right?
Yeah, but Igal, you got to look at this is it for Newcastle. This is realistically the biggest game of their season. This is a chance to go to a final at Wembley. They're 2-0 up. And whether we like it or not, the way Newcastle played it, the way their strengths are as a football team, it plays directly into the hands of the way the fixtures shaping up. Arsenal have to go out and attack, which means there's going to be space on the counter.
And they scored, by the way, they did score against Bournemouth as well. They did get a goal in that game.
To rebuttal, though, it was a 2-goal lead that we needed to catch up to them, right? So we could win 3-1, and it will go to penalties.
I see that scenario.
And also, off the back of the performance that we just had versus City, and I don't want to get into that game fully yet, but just looking at that,
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, Newcastle fans are like, holy shit, these guys are looking good just before they play us. And that mentality of this is their biggest game.
Yeah.
What was the City game for us?
Yeah.
City could have ended our season.
So listen, 100% you can do that. It's going to be a tough game. It's doable. This is the thing. It's doable that Arsenal win. But I also think that's why if you do it, it's a massive win because it's fucking hard as well. So it's a real difficult one.